Hello, we're going to make the pattern you are seeing on your screen, and we have masked the last. This is our center line. You can see the center line. So after drawing the center line, we draw our counter line. You can see it. So we're going to measure from beneath our heel. We are going to measure 2.5 inches. That is going to be our counterpoint. So you mark it 2.5 inches. So the next thing now, we are going to locate our vamp line, and to do that we are going to first locate our lateral ball point. So you see where I'm marking the widest part of your last, where it touches the flat surface. So after marking that, you place your tape this way, bring it to the other side, hold it, and then you draw your vamp line. You draw the vamp line. So now we are going to locate our low lateral instep point. So we're going to divide the vamp line into two. The total length of the vamp line is 3 inches, so the half is going to be 1.5 inches. So we'll mark 1.5 inches here, and then the next step, we are going to draw our lateral quarter line. So you place your tape this way. Use your masking tape to hold it to be easier for you, this place. Then you bring the tape. You can see how I did that. So you bring the tape down this way. Make sure it's at the counterpoint, and then you draw the line down. Make sure the tape is at the half of the vamp line. Then you draw the lateral quarter line. So that is that. So we're going to start the drawing, but before then we are going to measure from here. We measure 1 inch. That is where the pattern has to start from. 1 inch from here to here, 1 inch. So you take another measurement from there. You measure 1.5 inch. That is the first pattern. 1.5 inch. Here to here, 1.5 inch. So we're going to take another measurement, 1/2 inch. That is the space between the patterns from here to here, 1/2 inch. Then you take another measurement, 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch. From here to here, 1.5 inch. And then you take another 1/2 inch. From here to here, 1/2 inch. So the rest of the other place is going to be the cap area. If you look closely at the pattern, you see what I mean. So we start drawing from the cap. So you can see where I started. We start from the cap, and also you take this line too. So the whole drawing is coming from that measurement on the center line. So you just bring the drawing down from the measurements on the center line. So if you watch closely on the pattern, you find out it has a curve around this area here. It has a curve here. So take note of that, a little curve. So we are going to take another measurement from this line here so that we don't make mistake. We take another measurement from here, 1.5 inch, remember, 1.5 inch, so that we can get the line from the cone. So the next thing, we are going to take measurement from here down here, 2.5 inch. That's from the counter point. We take a measurement towards this area, 2.5 inch. Then you take 2.5 inch, and then you take a curve. Watch the pattern. You take a curve down to this place. So I'm using a biro now to make the pattern visible. Let me clean some of the pencils so that we can be able to view the pattern properly. So you can see what we have here. Here is where the elastic will be fixed. That's where the elastic will be fixed. So you can see that. So we are through with the drawing. The next thing is to develop the pattern, and that is where you have to pay a proper attention. So we are going to move over to the next step. Let's cut the pattern out. So when you peel the pattern, you paste it on your cardboard paper as always. So make sure you avoid too much creeps. I always tell us that. So you have to be careful while pasting the pattern on the cardboard paper. Make sure you take your time and carefully paste it and avoid too much creeps. So this part of it, we are going to give it slight cuts so that it can lie flat. So after that, the next thing we are going to be doing is to add our lasting allowance. So, and I'm going to be adding our lasting allowance to be around 1.4 inch or 1.5. You can use 1.4 or 1.5. So you add it round. So let's extend this part of the cap. You draw a straight line here to carry the lasting allowance. So now we are going to also measure our lasting allowance here, 1.4. So you take the pencil and then join the whole measurements to have your lasting allowance. So right here we are going to add our stitching allowance. So our stitching allowance is going to be ½ inch. You know, we are going to have this part to be 2, and we are going to stitch it right here. So you add ½ inch as the stitching allowance, extend this line, and then add up the stitching allowance. So finally, the next thing, we are going to cut it into shape. So now you can see we have cut it into shape, and then we have cut our marking dots. You see the marking dots, you see it. So after cutting it into shape, you see you use your knife to cut your marking dots. You see the marking dots to separate the patterns, so you see them. So we are going to mark out the pattern bit by bit. So we're going to separate the pattern now to have what we are going to use. So we have this cardboard paper. This is the center of the cardboard paper. We make sure it can take the 2 sides of the pattern. So you place your main pattern on that center line. We are going to mark out the cap first. So you place the pattern this way on that center line, and then you begin to mark out the cap area. So you can see what we have. You join the dots to have the full line. Let me make this one. Hope you can see the line. Let me make it visible enough. So after that, you fold the pattern into 2 equal parts, and then you cut it into shape. So you can see what we have here. So we are done with this part. So we are going to do the same thing for the whole part of the pattern. So that is exactly the same thing we are going to do to get all the parts of the pattern. So this is the center of this particular cardboard paper too. So we're going to mark out the cone strap. We do the same thing. You place it at the center line and also mark it out. you fold into 2 and then also cut out the pattern. So hope you remembered, this is the particular one that has that curve, and I believe you can see the curve. You can see the curve. So this particular one, we are going to mark where the front is. So I'm going to give an arrow here. You can see the arrow. I'm going to mark it. This is where it's going to face the cap. So you have to mark it so that you don't make mistake, because if you turn it, it will give you another shape. You can see it. So you mark it out to make sure you don't make mistake while using the pattern. So let's go over to the counter side of it. Remember, this part of it is supposed to be 1, you understand, but I'm going to make it 2 so that I can be able to show you exactly how you're going to use it, understand. But if you mark it just one part, it will serve the whole purpose. So remember to cut out your marking dots so you can see it there. So make sure you use your knife or your razor to cut out the marking dot for the stitching line. So fold it into 2, and also I'm going to cut it into shape. So now you can see what we have here. I'm going to separate the 2 of them. This is how it is going to look like after stitching the both of them together, you understand. So let me pin. This is where you're going to stitch. Let me separate them first. So if you use one to mark out your pattern, this is what you will have. You see it? So it is going to go this way. So if you cut one, you mark, turn the other side, it becomes the other side of the pattern, and this is the stitching line. Understand? So let me use this staple now to pin the 2 together so that we can test it. on our last. So you can see what we have here. So that is what you are going to have after stitching the two of them together. So let's test the whole pattern on the last to see how it looks. So finally you can see what we have here. This is our elastic, where the elastic is going to be placed. So you can see that we are done with this tutorial. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not, and also hit the bell icon to get updates as soon as our next video drops. Thank you, have a nice day, and see you in our next video.